Thanks to the Supreme Court and Donald Trump becoming president, most of his legal troubles have faded away, at least the lawsuits against him. He's certainly suing a lot of law offices and media outlets because that's the sort of person he is. But one case remains, and that is hers, E Jean Carroll. Remember her? One of the many women that he has abused throughout the years, but this is the one that a jury adjudicated him to have sexually abused, and then gone on to defame for years and years. He was ordered to pay her $83 million. Now he appealed that ruling, and the appeals arguments are actually going to begin starting next Tuesday. We're finally getting to that. It has been so long that I had actually forgotten that was still an outstanding thing that was going to happen, but we're getting close. And ahead of the case, he's already actually suffered one setback in that he wanted the DOJ to be able to defend him in this case. And one can understand why he would want that. To him, the DOJ is just his personal lawyers. Also, it's staffed by just his personal lawyers. And so he wanted it. He's not gonna get it, actually. DOJ lawyers had argued that since some of Trump's alleged conduct fell within the scope of his role as president, the DOJ should be able to defend the president in court. They argued substitution is required because once the AG certifies that a defendant is acting within the scope of his office or employment, the United States is the party defendant unless and until a court rules to the contrary. Now, they're not gonna be able to do that. But think about that for just a second. So obviously the sexual abuse was not within his role as president. It happened a very long time ago. Now, if it had happened while he was president, I have no doubt that he would argue that it was one of his official duties. But they seem to be implying that him constantly on social media and in rallies defaming E Jean Carroll as well as the many other women that have made similar claims against him is like his duty. Like it's in the Constitution that he needs to badmouth these women. You remember when they said that the president was obligated to say whether or not he thought the people accusing him of sexual assault were hot enough to warrant it? So anyway, thankfully, they didn't accept that. Although that said, perhaps it will be appealed. Perhaps the Supreme Court will find that argument to be a little bit more compelling. But in any event, in advance of the trial, we do want to just remind you of that $83 million, the $5 million civil judgment that also was awarded back in 2023. And if you're interested in hearing more from her perspective, from E Jean Carroll, she has a book, Not My Type, one of the things that he attacked her with. And she says that the reason she's continuing with all of this is that she just wants to get his money and make him mad, saying my mission is to make him so angry and so mad by taking his $83.3 million and giving it to the things that Trump hates. That's what I'm doing. She says she's gonna put that money into women's reproductive rights, binding up the wounds that he's inflicting on democracy, and shoring up voting rights. And she adds, apparently in that book, here's an interesting detail. So she knows that there's a lot of political violence, and E Jean Carroll, I imagine, would be very high up on the list of right-wing, people who want to do something terrible. So she says she sleeps at night alongside a Mossberg shotgun she's nicknamed Aphrodite after the Greek goddess of love and 2 guard dogs, which is pretty badass. But anyway, Brett, what do you make of this? What are your expectations for the case? He's been pretty slippery in a legal sense over the past couple of years.
Regardless of what happens, I don't think he'll ever pay the full amount, which is crazy because according to his supporters, he's a gajillionaire, and this is but the buzzing of flies to him. He finds this in the cushions of his golden couch, but he doesn't want to pay it. And this argument is lazy. It's so lazy, and they're just seeing if they can get away with it, right? That's what they're doing.
You're talking about the DOJ?
The DOJ, the whole thing. Oh, this is in the context of him doing his job. Like that's either lazy and they know it's ridiculous, or it's much, much worse than that. And it reminds me of the argument put forth by people at Fox News who were saying, oh, my legal defense against these claims is that I'm not even doing news. Why would you think that Fox News would be a news channel?
Yeah.
At a certain point, we go to basically the same thing as the Daily Show. We're just telling jokes and having a good laugh, and we're here to entertain you. Are you not entertained? No, a lot of people are not entertained. And please entertain the notion that we might hold someone accountable when they're doing something awful, as found through the legal process. Like this is a thing that I get to say about him. Like I get to say that the guy has done some real bad sexual misconduct because the jury said that. I have to say alleged a lot. And Trump is he is so vexed by the fact that someone would hold him accountable that he is levying multi-million-dollar lawsuits against people who might get a few words wrong along the way. A little bit of like George Stephanopoulos, from my recollection, said words a little wrong, but
Yeah.
nothing that different from what Donald Trump actually was found liable of in a court. He said guilty of instead of liable for. Most human beings would be like, those are the same thing. But no, Donald Trump is so concerned with the integrity of the law that he's going to go after you for that. Well, it doesn't sound like he's taking it very seriously when his DOJ is making arguments like this. Yeah, I think it's funny. I normally I know we're tempted to be like, E Jean Carroll's the hero and Donald Trump's the villain, and I'll find the details later. In this scenario, it's like, I don't care. I don't know E Jean Carroll. I know a lot more about Donald Trump, but when I hear she's like, I'm gonna give money away to all the stuff he hates, I start to like her a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, that's, when we constantly say that if Elon Musk wasn't the absolute stupid and worst person in the world, he could be the most beloved person in the world. Look at how much just instantly when you hear that she's gonna take that money and put it in these good causes, you're like, oh, she seems like a good person. Elon Musk could do that literally every single day if he wanted to. And instead he does the things he does. Yeah. 100%. And you're like, it's wild to me that Fox repeatedly using as a legal defense that they're not serious about the news and nobody should trust what they say has not harmed their reputation literally at all. I think we're in a dangerous place as a country.